So I've heard a lot of people say, I can't go natural. You got that good hair. So I just can't do it. You've heard that before? So what is good hair? That's right. Hair, healthy hair is good hair. Everything you guys said. Good hair is hair that actually grows. All right? So if you don't have hair coming out of a hair follicle, it's being bad. It's not good hair. So if you have hair that's growing out of a follicle, it's good. Now we got to work with what you have. Let's learn how to work with what we have. All right. Now there is a Wikipedia definition that I like to use, and it's pretty interesting. It says good hair is a colloquial phrase, which means where you are, colloquial, all right, or within your community or your group. A colloquial phrase used within the African American community to generalize, describe African American hair, or the texture belonging to those of other ethnicities who fit the same description that most closely resembles that of non-blacks, straight or curly, especially those images of hair popularly presented in homogenic society. So, in other words, we label ourselves that way. You got good hair. Because nobody else really says that about us. We say it about ourselves. So it's really something that we need to address within our own community and just say, if you have hair, just embrace it and let's make it the best that it is. Your hair. I mean, if you don't have hair, be the best head you can be. I mean, don't worry about it. I mean, yeah, I've seen some bald heads. If my head was shaped right, I would totally go bald. Am I right? I would. I would. I like it. It looks good to me. So that's what I wanted to discuss about good hair. And that is hair that grows. I'm getting close to my notes here. What are the characteristics of healthy hair? Well, healthy hair, it has shine, luster, elasticity. It responds to humidity. And it sheds about 100 or 70 to 100 strands a day. Now, it shines. Some have matte shine or lack thereof, and some textures have more shine than others. So we get to the question of what do you do about the shine? There's a couple things. My hair's shining today, but I put a color on my hair so that it can reflect the light the way it is. And professionally, a rinse, I don't mind that. Some people ask, well, what do you think? There's different situations. There's different times. Some people are allergic to some colors. I do get that. And a lot of that has to do with the way your body hormonally is out of balance, which goes back to a whole nother starting point that you need to talk to about with a doctor about. Primarily. But overall, on natural hair, I use a rinse on my hair just because I want it to shine more. I do that. Anybody have questions about that? Some people are like, oh, we shouldn't put anything in here. Go ahead. He's coming with the mic to your right.
What's the difference between rinse and the regular color? Is it the same thing or is it two different things?
It's different. It's two different things. With the rinse, it's okay. So when we're trained, we're actually taught different types of color. One is a rinse. One is going to have semi-permanent potency, and the other one's going to have permanency. It's going to be permanent. So with a rinse, it's kind of like Kool-Aid. You just put it on your hair, and it just kind of makes your hair grab whatever it can grab, or just hold on to what it can hold on to, and then the rest is gone. Other than that, you're opening up the cuticle, and you're depositing color into that hair shaft, which is making it illuminate light. So that's more permanent. That's when you're actually changing the bonds of your hair. You're actually putting product in your hair to make the color change. Did that help some? Okay. That's just a short of it without getting too rough. I have another question here. He's coming with your mic.
If you're going to use a rinse in your hair, are there products that are more natural than others?
Of course, yeah. There's hennas. Hennas is a natural herb or plant that they use to color. A lot of times in the Indian community is where I've seen it done. But a lot of other people try to use hennas also. But then again, you have some people are allergic to certain types of things that are in it, and that goes back again to your starting point. Something internally may be a little bit off, and be it thyroid or, a lot of other things, but you should definitely talk to a doctor if you have an allergic reaction. Oh, one other thing, if you are going to get color, be sure that whoever does your color does a patch test on you, which is where they actually put color right here in your arm, the bend of your arm, and on the back of your neck, and that allows you for 24 hours before you get your color, for 24 hours to see if you have some type of itching or bumping or anything like that. If you do, do not get color on your hair. It could be life-threatening even, okay? I have a question in the back. Microphone in the back? Okay.
If you color your hair the permanent dye, does that mean you're no longer natural? Or
You know what? I've heard that a lot. If you color your hair, you're doing just that. The sun colors your hair. So you're changing the colors. You're not changing the bonds, the physical bonds of your hair and making it look like something else. If your hair will revert back and do all the characteristics that are in your category, I still consider you natural. If you come and sit in my chair and you have a color on your hair, I'm going to treat it like natural hair. That's the category you fall in, as far as I'm concerned. Now, when it comes to people who are saying extremists and saying, I'm a vegan and I don't do this and I don't put that on, that's a personal preference. But I like meat. I put color on my hair. I am natural. I'm a natural hairstylist. I style hair that has texture. We're dealing with texture and we're dealing with, just the elements and just choices of life. So in my book, yes, you're still natural. Anybody else? All right. We're going to move right along. I saw another hand, I thought. Well, maybe not. Okay, well, as far as that is concerned, that's all of the information that I have thus far. But I do want to talk a little bit more about the Whisper Whip and what you can use it for, okay? And then we'll talk about some of the other vendors and what they have back there. But Whisper Whip, actually the product, I'm gonna do some giveaways too. I'm gonna give away a bottle. I am. I like giving things away. I was always told that if you have your hand like this and you don't give away knowledge and information, nothing can get in it. So you just stay like this and give, and it comes back, and we just share stuff, right? So I'm going to give away this bottle of Whisper Whip. This is co-wash, and it's also hydrating. So the way you're going to use this, you see it doesn't have directions on it. That's because I'm very brand new. But what you do is you use it and you put it in the palm of your hand. You kind of wet your hair a little bit, and you run your fingers through your hair using a generous amount, all through your hair, or depending on the length you have. And as you work it in with your fingers, I don't like using combs too much because it actually snags. If you have a curl, your hair is curly, right? So if you have a curl like this, combs are straight. And when you dig into it and pull, it's going to create a knot and it snaps. So that's the reason why your hair is breaking off. So what I do is I use the Whisper Whip. I go in sections and I smooth the hair down. And if I feel a knot, I kind of work it loose a little bit with my fingers. And then just go all through the hair like that, being very gentle. That's where you're going to get your length from being gentle with your hair and not snatching it off from the bottom, okay? So this Whisper Whip I'm going to give away. Can I get the drawing thing here? Oh, my son hopped up. You going to come bring it to me? Yeah, okay. That's my son, Quincy. You can wet it with a spray bottle or in a shower if that's what you want to do. You can do that. Okay. I'm going to pull another name here. Oh, go ahead. Do you have a question? I use my hands. If you prefer applicator bottle, you can do that. But I use my hands just because I'm a very tactile person. I like to feel what I'm doing. You got a question too back there? Yes, it is. And paraben. So you will not lather. You won't see any bubbles or anything going. Okay. I saw another hand. No? That's a good question. All right, so let's talk about that, because that's relative. Because you hear, 4 to 6 weeks or 2 months. Huh? She said, how often should you trim your hair? Okay? That's going to go according to your texture, as far as what I see, and as how much manipulating you're doing to your hair. So let's go back. We talked about our hair being drier. We talked about if you're using combs on your hair and you're snapping your hair off. Okay, let's go back even further. What is trimming for? Trimming is to keep your hair blunt so that it continues to stay on your head as it grows down, all right? So what's happening, as your hair is drying or you're combing it, it splits like this. Can you all see my fingers? They're splitting. So consider this one strand. And on the ends, you get these little frays from it being snapped off and things like that. Well, that gets weakened. Those two that are split like that is weakened at that point, so it breaks off. So as your hair is constantly growing out of the hair shaft, it's constantly doing this. It's breaking off, splitting, breaking off. That's why it's important to trim the split ends to make them blunt again, so they're not constantly splitting up the shaft and breaking off, and you have to cut shorter and shorter and shorter, or it cuts itself. It's going to cut itself. So you might as well trim your hair and keep it blunt, and if you want to see length, that's the way you do it, and that's the reason. So to answer your question, depending on what you're doing to your hair, this is a real answer. Right, if you're combing your hair and twisting your hair, manipulating it all the time, you need to trim a lot more often than I do, okay? Because I don't mess with my hair. My hair, I trimmed it, 4 or 5 months ago, and I use my fingers. When I start noticing shedding or feeling like I've got things, I pick it up and I trim it, or I go sit down and have one of my brothers cut it for me or something. Yeah, that's what I do. But I probably won't trim it again until next year because I don't mess with it. So the manipulating and the stress, that's what causes the split ends in the first place. That make sense? All right. Let me get this hand in the back.
My daughter would like to know.
Stand up.
What's my question?
It was about the texture.
Sorry. I thought we would get to this eventually. I'm a newly natural. Product-wise, I feel like I have more than one texture. And so how do you find a product that works well with multiple textures?
That's an excellent question. So what do you do in that case? All right, so for me, it's all about balance. Now, everything's going out of your head, so all of it has some similarity. You don't have like, you're not gonna have a 4C in the top and a 3A around the edges. That's not gonna happen, but you do have some similarity. A lot of times, it's just that it's actually more hair concentrated in one area than the other, which makes it feel like it's a different texture. So you understand what I'm saying? So you have more hair strands that are here versus what are around the edges. So it's not necessarily that your hair is not the same texture, it's just less in one spot than there is another. So in order to blend that goes more towards your styling, what types of styles you're gonna wear with your hair. You're gonna need to be very careful with more moisturizing. Are you speaking of it being tighter or thicker in the top, like right in this area, in the crown? Where do you mean that your hair has more textures?
My edges, I feel, are a lot tighter, and I guess it feels drier than the middle of my head.
Do you sleep with the satin pillowcase?
I sleep with the satin bonnet.
Okay, and do you keep things around your head like that a lot? Because that's not satin.
No, this isn't satin.
Right.
It kind of depends.
Okay, so with that, all right, so you got to look at what you're doing. Okay, when you tie things around it, anything has a band or anything like that, whatever that's made out of is constantly sucking moisture from your head. So you're saying that this around here is drier. If you're putting things that are cotton around your head more so, and it's not happening up here, it's probably being sucked, moisture is being sucked from this area around here. So you may want to look at the styling techniques and kind of let it breathe a little more and moisturize it, reset it, and then get it to kind of blend more like that, all right? Does that make sense? But the Whisper Whip will definitely help you. Seriously. I'm not trying to say it. I'm just telling you it would. That, and I get the moisturizing shampoo from UB Natural back there. That will be a good combination for you. And a soft curl probably, depending on what your texture is. Yes.
It was about trimming. Like, how do you trim your hair? Do you straighten it to trim it?
I don't know. There's two ways. I'm glad you brought that up. There are two ways to trim your hair. You could trim your hair for curl, and you can trim your hair for wearing straight styles. I had a client come to me one time and was like, oh my God, the person that I guess they couldn't get into me or whatever, and then she said, the person said that you didn't cut my hair right because it was uneven. Well, this person wore her hair straight for a special occasion, and her hair was really uneven from the way that it was cut. Well, the thing is if you're going to cut your hair for straight, let's think about curls. Curls draw up like this, right? Some of the curls on her hair, this young lady just said, feel like I have finer around here and thicker here. Well, that's going to affect your curl, all right? Some curls hang longer than others. So if I got my hair like this and this is the shape I want, if I straighten my hair out and then cut it, when it draws back up, it's not only going to be shorter than what it was, but it's not going to be quite the way that I envisioned it originally. So I cut for style and shape in a curly state. First of all, if that's my goal, to wear it curly. Now, if I'm going to wear it straightened, then, of course, I blow dry it out and then I cut it. But it's not necessary to straighten your hair out, especially for wearing shapes like this young lady has here. If I straighten her hair out, and cut it, her hair will not look like that, curly, because some curls hang longer than others. So, you have to cut for curl or cut for straight hair. Does that make sense? Okay.
Can you elaborate on the texture question?
Oh, I'm like,
You made a statement that said that it's not really, it's the density of the hair. It's not, there's not different textures in the hair. Okay, so
it makes it appear like this. It makes it appear like there is more than one texture. So she's probably in the 3 category all the way over her head. Like if you took a strand from here and a strand from here and looked at them, they're going to be the same. But there's concentrated more in one area than another, which makes it appear like, when you smooth it together, it makes it appear like it's different from others.
So the curl pattern is going to be the same on one head of hair.
A lot of times, unless it's affected by some other component like heat or more drying from laying on. Like my hair is affected by not putting the right amount of moisture in it. So if I sleep on a cotton pillowcase, I'll have straight pieces. Or if I pull on one area too long, I'll have straight pieces there too. Yeah.
I actually have 2 questions. I've been told that you shouldn't dry your hair with a towel, and that you should use a cotton t-shirt. Is that true? And then the other question is, why is it that when I do my 2-strand twist, at the end I get this little pieces of hair?
It's time to trim your hair.
Okay, that actually comes out.
That's what I mean. Your hair will tell you when it's time. That is, yeah. Right, okay, so for a t-shirt, I was like, yeah, you order your t-shirt. But no. So for the, as far as the t-shirts are concerned, all right, so you're thinking about like the microfiber towels and things like that. Yeah, absolutely. Anything that's not going to put stress on your hair, it's going to work. It slides down more. I personally don't like it. I just kind of towel dry mine, bladder a little bit, and I shake it out and let it go. But if you just really need to dry it, a towel is going to be more gentle than a t-shirt is going to be more gentle than a towel, of course. Yeah, that's not really, I'm not doing that for my hair, but if that's what you feel, it could be. That's another one of those YouTube ahas. People came up saying, so guess what now? I dry my hair with socks, and this is how I do it. Might make a video. So this is a new sock method. You actually wear this sock at night, and you take it off, and this is how I got it. And then y'all be on there talking about, have you seen the new sock method? I'll be like, don't come in here talking to me about the sock. I made that up, okay? It's not real. But yeah, the towel, I can see why the towel would work. It's a microfiber. It's really it's soft, It's still cotton. It's drawing moisture from your hair, so I don't know, other than it won't snag your hair as much. That would be the main reason. So yeah, I could see that working. We have someone. Yeah.
My question is, I guess I'm transitioning with gray hair.
Okay.
And I just talked to a lady in here, and she was telling me about the shimmers that that you do for your
Shimmering
hair.
lights, yeah.
Shimmering lights. So how would that affect my hair if I didn't use the shimmering lights? Is it the same?
It's
For
the same.
to give you the shine and take
Right.
the dullness out?
Okay, so your gray hair, it actually changes because of chemicals. So if you're not, right, so you're getting away from it. So it's actually going to shine more. I would do a quick shimmering light shampoo and you let it sit. Then I would start with the co-washes and go back in and actually just hydrate your hair more. So yeah, you went into that easy zone.
My question is your co-wash also available to use as a leave-in? Can you use it as a leave-in?
Yeah, I actually did it the other day, and it worked pretty well. So yeah. hmm Whoever has a microphone, what'd you say? You do that? She says she does that in the back, so she's got that nice big thick hair. Okay, go ahead. You have a microphone over there? Well, she's got a teacher voice. Never mind.
Just gonna ask about the blow drying. How often, if you wear your hair curly, I have to be honest, I don't really like the curly hair, but it's very convenient and it works. But with the blow drying, when you blow dry it straight, how often should you do that? And my daughter also, when she wears her hair curly, she has straight ends. She struggles with the straight ends. She likes the curly look, but she struggles with the straight ends. So what would you recommend about that?
That's going to be according to your hair texture. If it's fine, I don't recommend you doing it that often. And I also recommend heat intervals. I talk to people about that because you see so many people, this is a professional thing, all right? You go in with a blow dryer and you're blow drying your hair, just force and it straighten it out, blow dry and put heat on it. What that does is it straightens your hair and it heats it up to whatever that blow dryer setting is. If it's 450 degrees, it's heating your hair up to 450. I have a motto, I treat hair like it's skin. So if I take a blow dryer and sit it on my arm and just hold it there, what's gonna happen? It's gonna burn. And that's the same thing with your hair. If you go in there and just blow dry it, it's gonna burn. It'll cool down somewhat, but then when you go back in with a flat iron and you put that on, it's gonna heat it up past 450 degrees, which is really essentially destroying it, and you're never gonna see any length like that. Actually, it's gonna set you back. So that's why, if you're gonna do it, you make sure you go to somebody who understands the differences between the textures and the type of heat that should be used on each one. Because if not, you're gonna constantly set yourself back. And you'll never make it to waist length, ever, ever, ever.
Straight ends when she wears it curly. She doesn't get it straightened that often, but
That's heat damage. And it's not coming back.
Okay.
You have to cut it. I know, I did it. But mine's good now. Actually, I have a lady. See her right there, Joy. I straighten her hair every 2 weeks, and when I shampoo it, it curls right back up because we've understand. It didn't used to do that, right? There was a point when I didn't understand heat intervals, and I was just burning hair like everybody else. But now that I understand, but I was just like, it's straight, boom, knock them curls out. But now I understand that that's not really healthy. And when it's in a straight state like that, it can't go anywhere else. The elasticity is compromised, and it doesn't stretch before it breaks. It's actually stretched already, so it just breaks, and breaks. So now we're on a waist length path, and we're good to go.
I just want to know, what would you recommend for a child's, like a good detangler for a child's hair? Because on wash day, we argue. I just want to have a peaceful.
Oh man, Yvonne. Where's Yvonne? Is Yvonne here? She walked out. Oh wow. Who has a baby who has a kid that one of the I'm sorry, we have a lot of the models. Yeah, she could probably tell you. We talk about how to use the whisper whip, and I've shown her how to actually detangle her children's hair using her fingers instead of going in trying to comb it and things like that. But it works wonders. I think, Kay, your daughter too. But you probably could tell her your experiences with it.
Her hair sucks in a lot of water, and it's like a sponge, and it can get knotted. So I was talking to Tendai about how do I, help detangle it. How do I detangle it without it getting knotted? And she used the whisper whip on it and just showed me how to, just use my fingers and just pull it. Even when washing it, I can't do this. It's pulling. I need to pull on it. So
Right.
That was helpful.
So basically, your hair has memory, and anything you do to it, it starts to repeat that over and over again. If you mat it up, it'll mat up. So if you're going in and shampooing your child's hair like this and doing all this and getting it real clean, you're creating knots. I call them a Rubik's Cube effect. It's just you don't have to detangle that or snatch it off one way or another. But if you go in and you smooth it out and you actually shampoo it this way, as it's smoothed out, go in and massage it a little bit while it's stretched out, you're going to keep that curl from going in and knotting up on each other. So it's trimmed properly, you're smoothing it out, but this helps to keep it from being so dry, and it makes the process a lot easier. I even take and section the babies when they come to me. I section it with my fingers, maybe about 4 sections, start in the back, and I part it out like I was giving a relaxer, and I do section by section. Part one part, put it in there, smooth it out, work it out with my fingers, part the next section, spray with water on it, smooth it out, and I go through the whole head like that. If you just have to have the feel of doing a relaxer, this is what you do with the Whisper Whip. And it helps tremendously. I'm telling you, it's really good. Really good. Anybody else? I have a question in the back. This is my lovely sister-in-law, please.
No question, Tina. I was just going to say, if anybody struggle with dry hair who can't keep moisture like me, Whisper Whip.
Yeah.
Tendai used Whisper Whip on me, and the dryness went away. I'm telling you, I can't keep moisture for some reason, but that works.
It's the shampooing. Every time you shampoo it, it's drying it out. So you just got to be careful there. All right? How are we looking on our time? Because I don't want to have y'all just sitting here all day. What time is it? 1:15? Okay, 1:15. All right. Any other questions, you guys? I'm here for whatever you got.
Is it necessary to wrap my hair every night, especially like if it's linked? I have a satin pillowcase, but is it also necessary to wrap my hair with it?
Okay, so immediately my mind goes to styling. Are you saying to wrap your hair for styling or for protective reasons?
Protective.
Oh, okay, and then what are you wrapping it with? Because I got two things. I got the wrap and then I got tying it up.
I don't wrap it, and so I tend to get breakage in the crown, in the middle.
What kind of pillowcase are you sleeping on?
I have cotton, but I do have satin. Just
You sleep on the cotton one though?
a lot of times I do.
Okay. So she's like, I got cotton ones, but I got satin ones. They in the closet, but see, they don't help you in the closet.
I'm kind of a wild sleeper, so I'm just all over the place.
So, okay, with that in mind, is your goal to grow your hair?
Yes.
Okay, so if your goal is to grow your hair, you have to do the things necessary to get it to stay on your head. And sleeping on cotton pillowcases is not going to help. Do you have chemicals in your hair now?
No.
Okay, that's good. So with straightening your hair, yes, it's going to protect your ends and keep it from breaking off. Those pieces that you see that are broken, that's from your hair being dry and it's snapping off from being overly dry. Think about cotton. A cotton ball, if you stick it in liquid, what does it do? Sucks it up. And you take the cotton and lift it up, and yeah, all the moisture is in the cotton ball and not in the cup, right? That's the same thing that's happening to your head. So whatever moisture is in your hair, it's sucking it all out, and then there you have it. It's dry, and it's really dry, and it's going to break off from there. So I would suggest you wrapping it and protecting it with a satin scarf. If you're going to sleep on a cotton pillowcase, use a satin scarf. Okay?
My daughter is natural, and I tell her to pick her hair instead of comb it. Is picking not good for it either?
If you want it to grow, then no. If you have an afro and you wanted to shape it, yeah, it's a wonderful tool for that. But if you're just trying to get her hair to grow, the best thing to do is to avoid snatching the ends off. Let me give you a visual. This is a hair strand. This is a hair follicle. The hair grows from the hair follicle. As it's coming out, things that we do on the outside make the hair susceptible to breakage. So it comes off, it snaps off, and it continues to just stay shorter than it should be. So if you're picking the hair, once it curls, that's growing out as a curl, you pick it, snap, it's shorter, got to get another haircut. So now to make it all even again, because you got all this stuff going on, okay? But if you cut your hair like this and then let it grow, it's just going to grow out, grow out, grow out. Nothing's going to happen, nothing's going to happen. And then you go in one day and you start to mess with it, and it's like, oh, I got some hair on my head. That's how that's happening. Does that make sense? That's why when you put your hair in protective styles, or you braid it up, or you put it in sew-in and you take it out, your hair is so much longer because it has not been messed with. That's the reason why. And the ends is still there. So you've let it out, and it's longer than what it was when you started. That's what's happening. Go ahead.
You put on your hair for like twisting it. What's like that?
Wait, say what do you put on your hair when you're twisting it?
Product to put on your hair for twisting it.
It depends on the style that you're looking for. If you're trying to do a twist out, two-strand twisting it. that's all about the style, like the end result. Like if you showed me a picture and said, this is what I want, I would choose what to put on it at that point. Now, I'm all about maintenance, low maintenance, and end results. You know, that's my whole thing. I'm not, you know, I style very well. I'm a barber, you know, I could do all, pretty much whatever you want to do. But if it's not going to benefit you long term and you're not trying to grow your hair, I'm probably not the one you want to see. Because just loosely twisting it around, some kind of style, yeah. I definitely suggest some loose little styles just to put it up out of the way and not mess with it. Yeah, I suggest that. Go ahead.
Is there a quick way to wash your hair? Well, for me personally, when I wash my hair, after I wash it and I get ready to detangle it and condition it and everything, I literally have knots at the end of my hair, all over it. How do you avoid that?
Okay, so what is the time for her to do? She just said she has knots. It's time to trim your hair.
But it's like, even when I cut it, like every time I wash my hair, it's like always like it just curls into itself and makes knots.
It's probably not cut properly then. You're probably not cutting enough off. If you got a split strand of hair like this, right? And you cut here, it's still split. So it's going to keep creating knots until you get it blunt again. So it's probably just not cut enough. You don't want to hear that, do you? That's it. I'm just whispering. You want me to say it softer? You need to cut your hair. It's time for a trim. A real one. We got some more giveaways. Huh?
I was going to chime in.
Okay, this is my brother Leonardo. He's the hair whisperer.
You had mentioned earlier too about the way that you manipulating your hair when she shampoos it. You're saying it's after you shampoo your hair? Is it because you're going in like this? Remember Tidia? She mentioned that. Is that because you're doing that? So that may be the cause.
Yeah, you could be tangling it and just putting more stress on your hair instead of actually smoothing it down and keeping those ends straightened before you let it curl back up too. So just switch some things up. Change the game up a little bit. You'll be all right. It grows back so fast. It really does. When you trim it, it does. Uh-huh. Go ahead.
My question is, how often can you use protective styles throughout the year without causing any damage?
I mean, as I say, it depends, you know, how long are you leaving them up? And, you know, what's your result? If you're trying to grow it out, and what type of protective styles, you know. As long as it's nothing that's too stressful and you're not pulling your edges out and making it real crazy, yeah, you could do it every week. It wouldn't, you know, every day. I'd switch mine up sometimes, you know. I just happen to have more time this way to do other things, you know, like y'all's hair. So I just leave it like this. And every now and then I'll go in and make a part and twist it around and do something different. But for the most part, I just leave it alone.
I have a question right here.
Okay.
So my hair, what I'm noticing is this part is so much thinner than the rest of it. So I don't know if it's something I'm doing or if it's hereditary or what can I do to get this to thicken up. And usually it'll happen so often then I'll have to cut it all even again to get it to grow back out.
Was it, you were getting relaxers, I assume, at first, right?
I mean, I haven't had a relaxer. I mean, I go back and forth. I haven't had one probably over a year, I'm sure. But I go back and forth. I get a relaxer natural, you know. But I think I've been natural, I'm sure, over a year by now.
We talked about pH balances in your scalp being one way or another. The hair follicles are probably a little bit clogged from fungus that has been in your hair. This is just a guess without me actually being able to look and see and feel. Does your scalp feel tight or?
No, like, I don't know.
I'll feel it better. Just come see me.
Okay.
But my guess would be is if you've been getting relaxers and going back and forth, you could be dealing with a fungal issue up there where some of your follicles are actually clogged and it seems thinner. If you oil your scalp with that Monostat 7 and the coconut oil, it'll probably open up and start coming back out of the top and thickening up in the top. It's just my guess. I've seen that happen before, and I think it would work.
Okay, because I do have...
And you got color in top, too. So.
Yeah, I do. And I do have a lot of plates or whatever. So how often would you use the Monostat and the...
You use it for 30 days.
Like every day?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
just oil your scalp with, you don't have to wash it out or anything.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Got another question? What is the best way to do your hair after swimming? Before you go swimming, you need to put some, or conditioner in general, just put it in your hair, swim, because that's gonna kind of coat it. and you just kind of get in there, and it washes off or whatever. Before you do it, just put the conditioner in. You do swimming, and then afterwards go in with the shampoo, and then rinse it out and start back with the conditioners again. Mm-hmm. Don't comb it. Use your fingers. I want you guys to get used. Put your hands up like this. And I said, these are the best combs I could ever use. Say it. Right. God gave you 2 of them. Learn to use them. Get familiar with them. They do lots of things. They even comb your hair. Okay? All right. Yes.
Well, just going back to the your client over at the table, and she wears straight hair. I've been natural under this wig for for a year, and I just I have the tight curl pattern. I usually wear curly fro, but I've been trying to straighten it because my goal was to still wear straight hair, and my hair would grow long with a perm, but it would not be thick as it could be. So my goal was to leave the hair crack alone and get better wefts of hair. But however, I am noticing that my curl pattern is kind of leaving, but it's leaving, and it's like because the hair drying and I was told it's an either or deal here.
It is.
So but I love her hair. So but how often and like in between, sometimes I still have a curl pattern left, so I will wear it still curly sometimes, but. If I just want to just have it straight, how often would you say to get your hair flat ironed and blow dry just to maintain it?
That goes back to someone. You're gonna have to find someone who, like myself, and I'm not being funny. I'm just saying who's figured out how to work with heat intervals. Because if not, you're going to have the same problem over and over again, and you're gonna have to cut it. It's gonna cut itself. It's gonna break itself off at the strongest point. Your hair in its natural state is the strongest and the healthiest. So when you straighten it, you actually change the bonds just a little bit. It's like this. So you've got, think about the bonds in your hair that create curls. They're kind of tight like this in spaces, and they're a little looser as it goes down, and then tighter, and then looser. And that's what creates that wave pattern in the hair, right? So when you straighten it, those parts that are tighter, they straighten out. The elasticity or the rubber band effect in your hair that causes the coils, they loosen up like this.
That's what they're doing. They're just pretty much getting loose.
Right. So I'm just saying, like in the thing that's from the heat. So every time you put the heat on there, it changes like this, right? So then, eventually, if you do it too and it's too hot, they go too far apart and they go back some, but not like they used to be. Right. And that's what's happening. So if you do it, you gotta stretch it out, let it cool down some, and maybe stretch it a little bit more, let it cool down some. My visual in my head is a rubber band. So if you take a rubber band, you just go like this, it's gonna snap, right? That's what's happening with the heat if it's too hot. It's just taking it and breaking it apart. And so your ends up, they're broken and they won't go back. But if you do it a little bit, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, and kind of let it, and a little bit more. And it's kind of, I'm playing around with that little stretch of elasticity in your hair. And that's why you can get that free flowing, the curls, and then wash it and go back up. All of the girls who were in my show that you saw with straight hair, when I wet it, it curls right back up.
Yeah, and it does. It's just that my curl pattern, when I didn't do anything to it, it was just, as my daughter say, on fleek.
Right.
So, but it's now, it's loose. It's
right.
Real loose, and I'm thinking one day this is just gonna go away.
There. If you keep doing that, it will. I gotta give away some stuff, I'm told, so I gotta pay my bills. You want it. Who wants some stuff? Ladies, let me tell you, I am so glad you guys came to Texture Talk today. Please make some noise for yourself. Thank you so much. And I hope it's been informative. I hope that you guys take something away from today and tell other people, because next time it won't be the same information. It'll be more information.